Devil May Cry 2. This is one of the games that made the DMC series journey so rough. To call this game a disappointment amongst the community would be a massive understatement. The similarities between 1 and 2 are massive, and not in a good way. Now you might ask yourself, what makes this game so bad? Why is it worse than the original? Well, everything starts with the development team. Although the first game was a massive success, Capcom decided that the team, Little Devils, the name of the development team, shouldn't work on the sequel to the critically acclaimed Devil May Cry. They also assigned a random director that was never credited for his work. These are some of the few mistakes that Capcom made when making this game. Capcom also thought it would have been best if they rolled out a sequel while it was still very popular. On paper, I see how this sounds good, but not while you set a random team and director to work on the game. Midway through the development, Capcom noticed that things weren't going too well. They feared the potential outcome and needed someone to get everything back on track. Hideaki was called in to finish up making the game out of the blue, but for good reason. They desperately needed someone to steer everything back on track. Hideaki only had 4 to 5 months left to work on the game and make it the best he could. He even admitted in an interview that the game didn't go out as the way he wanted it to. This was also my very first Devil May Cry game and made me completely fall in love with the series. But when I came back and revisited, it was a big disappointment because I played Devil May Cry 1 before I played Devil May Cry 2 this time around and saw the differences. They weren't good. This game was pretty bad. It was really easy, and the game could be completely finished without even having to use your sword whatsoever. It was underwhelming, honestly. Imagine having the best time of your life on a game and expect the sequel to multiply that by 2. But it doesn't. The game took too many steps backwards. I loved this game as a kid, but I honestly found it a chore to go back and play it and get some footage for this video. That's also how the majority of the community felt when they played this game. Not only that, but the game ruined the character Dante as a whole. In the first Devil May Cry game, he was a foolish, badass, cocky, careless character that didn't care and slayed demons. But in here, instead, he's a very serious, dark, and brooding type of character. Having that type of character isn't necessarily bad. It's just the fact to the people who played the first game before playing the second game were expecting more of that, and instead they got this character. And like I said, it was pretty disappointing to see maybe one of your favorite characters just completely change without any sort of character development whatsoever. It's just a random change that might have not needed to be done. But that's just part of the mistakes that Capcom made when putting together this game. They let a random development team that had no idea what Devil May Cry was, or how to make the Devil May Cry per se, and a random director that had nothing to do with the previous game. It was more underwhelming than bad, but a disappointment at most.